Y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. As you can see, I'm fixing to get on the bike and I'm going to start reading the Agathas, so I thought I would bring y'all along with me. But before we get into all that, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. Y'all, let me show you what I got going on. Sorry, it's going to be echoey because we're heading out in the garage. Y'all might have seen a video that I did a while ago where I put together some black plastic shelves and I was all excited. They were like this one, but a little different. And I was all excited because I got a bunch of food put on them and up off the floor and all organized. Well, the intern wasn't all that impressed with my shelves because they kept falling down. So he got us these nicer, sturdier shelves that don't fall down, but the actual shelf parts are wire. So stuff falls off of them. So he cut up this cardboard. See the pieces of cardboard? And I told him that I would take all the stuff off the shelves and put the cardboard down and put the stuff back on the shelves. Well, he's out of town for a little minute, so I was going to do it while he's gone. Well, right now I have some time in my day, and I could either work on that. All right, I'm going to come in here because it's not as echoey. Or I could get on the bike and read my new book for a while. What do y'all think I'm going to do? Yep, I'm a read and ride. So let me tell you a little bit about the Agathas. And I say a little bit because that's all I know. I know. Okay, so see the cover is this girl, and then there's girls in her glasses. I think this girl disappears, and then this girl disappears, and then something about teenagers solving the mystery. Y'all, there are few things that I love more than teenagers solving a mystery because teenagers know everything. You think I'm wrong? Just ask a teenager. They will tell you that they know everything. So that's one of my favorite tropes is like teenagers solving things because it's so outlandish the way that they do it. It's just fun to read. So I'm going to go get on the bike just for a little, like maybe an hour, and read some Agathas and see, first of all, see what in the world it's even about. I think her boyfriend breaks up with her and she disappears. Or maybe, no, that's a different book. All right, I don't really know what happens. Let me go read for a while, see what's going on, and I'll come back and let y'all know. All right, y'all sit tight. Y'all, hey, I just want to check in and let you know I am working on the Agathas. I am about halfway through, I guess, and I love it. I'm about to read some more, so I thought I should check in and let you know what I know before I know some more and forget. Because I think when I told you before, anything that I told you was probably wrong because I was completely guessing. So it is told in alternating first-person perspectives from Alice and Iris. Alice is a rich, like popular girl, and Iris is an academically successful, I wouldn't say unpopular girl, but like not popular with the rich kids. Like she's popular with the kind of nerdy kids. And it's kind of interesting how the story's told because when it starts off, Alice is just back from having run away and she like disappeared herself for like a week. Nobody knew where she was. They thought bad things had happened to her. And she comes back and everybody's mad at her and nobody wants to talk to her. So like her friends aren't her friends anymore. So even though she's this like popular rich girl, she's sort of displaced and unhappy. And Iris, the nerdy girl, so the one who you would think would not be like the happy girl, has her friends and she's successful and like things are good for her. So the juxtaposition of the two characters is just interesting. And there's just a whole lot of that. The things that unite us are more than the things that separate us kind of thing. It's a very cute book. I don't know if I told you all this. It's young adult, but I would say like high school young adult. It's definitely young adult. So it's going very quickly. I'm enjoying it. They're trying to solve a murder. I think I told you that. Somebody disappears and then it turns out like she's gone. So they're trying to solve a murder and y'all, it's all of the like high school kids or teenagers trying to like solve a murder. All of those things. Like them finding clues that don't make sense and make it make sense, or them putting together things that don't make sense going together, and somehow they go together and they figure out things and it like moves their investigation forward. It's fantastic. I love those kind of stories that just don't make sense, but you love them anyway. This is one of those. So I'm going to get back to reading. I'll check back in. I definitely won't finish it today. I'm like halfway through. But I'll check back in and let you know how it's going and what I think about it. Hey, y'all. I just want to check in, let you know I am almost done with the Agathas. I am loving it. We have yet to actually meet an Agatha. I'm almost done with the book. I told y'all it's about Olive and Iris, who are a couple of high schoolers who are solving a murder. Y'all know how I love when teenagers solve things. So we talked about how Olive is like a privileged Richie Rich girl, and Iris is like the opposite, is a not privileged, not Richie Rich girl, and how they work together. Sorry, I'm looking for the little felons. How they work together to solve this crime, this murder, disappearance, whatever. And it's just fabulous the way the whole thing is coming together. First of all, I like the characters a lot. I'm enjoying the writing in the book. I like the development of the characters. They're not overly developed, but there is actually some development, especially for YA. A lot of times in YA books, we don't get much character development at all. And we are seeing some character development in the Agathas. And we're seeing interplay between characters, which is really interesting. The way that the friend groups work together, these sort of like nerdy kids and popular kids, the way that they're working together to solve this mystery, and the way that other characters are working with these teenagers and like giving them clues and giving them privileged information to help them solve this mystery is ridiculous. But it's fabulous. And y'all, I am down for every bit of it. I'm enjoying the sort of, I don't know if you can call it world building. I know that's like the verbiage when you're reading a fantasy, because that like is world building. But I like the way that the environment is created in this book, I guess. The way that the authors set up both the physical and the social environments that these kids live in and why they are the way that they are is really interesting, and it's very insightful. We see a lot of the home lives of these kids and how those things play into the way that they act and the decisions that they make. And again, it's really insightful and very interesting. So I'm going to finish the book. I just ordered some sushi from DoorDash, so I'm waiting for that to get here, and I'm going to eat my sushi and read my book. And then I'll come back and let y'all know what I think about the ending, and I'll let you know what we're going to read next, okay? So I'll see y'all in a bit. Morning, y'all. I'm about to get on the bike and ride for a while and read. Just want to check in, let y'all know what's going on. I have finished the Agathas. I realized I never told y'all what the Agathas thing was about. Well, Olive is obsessed with Agatha Christie. In every chapter, well, I told y'all it's alternating first-person points of view. So whenever we're with Olive, we get a little excerpt from Agatha Christie at the beginning of Olive's chapter. And Olive is forever quoting Agatha Christie and telling us what Agatha Christie, or Poirot, is that his name, her detective, what they would do to solve something or to deal with a clue. So I guess the Agathas refers to either Olive and Iris, or all of them, like the whole group of the folks. So anyway, I finished the book. There are lots of twists and turns that, I'm not even going to say I didn't see them coming, because I never see them coming. But not just in the case, but in the relationships. I'm not going to say too much, because y'all know I'm always afraid of giving spoilers. So I just want to say that I enjoyed the book a lot. It is YA, I know I've said that, but it's a good YA. It's a little more involved than a lot of YAs and gives us a little more backstory into the characters. There is a second book in the series, or the duology, I guess, but I don't know if it's a duology or a series with only 2 books so far. So I think I will read the second book at some point, but not right now because I need to do some work and read Hoot for a class. So I am going to get on the bike and start Hoot by Carl Hyacin. Y'all probably know Carl Hyacin. He writes lighthearted, like comedy books. The only books of his that I've ever read are set in Florida. I don't know if all of his books are set in Florida, but his writing is very funny. This one is middle grades, and can y'all see this? It's like water stained. I think we hauled this book when I got it. I bought it used. And it's, can you see that? Like somebody spilled water on it. So it kind of smells like an old closet. And y'all know how I do this when I'm talking about books. So we might not be using this as a prop much when we talk about this book. And I don't know how much I'm going to read the physical book, but I have it on my Kindle. So I'm going to go get on the bike. Speaking of which, hang on. So I'm going to go get on the bike and read and ride, but on the way out there, I want to show y'all that I have actually accomplished something other than just reading books and, ooh, sorry, that light. Other than just reading books and eating sushi. Look, I did the shelves, remember? I had to take all the stuff off of these shelves and put the cardboard down and then put the stuff back. I did that yesterday, so that's done. I know, big accomplishment. So I am going to get on the bike, read Hoot. I don't think it'll take very long. Like I said, it's middle grades. So I'll come back. I might just wait until I'm done and let y'all know how it is. I just kicked a weight. I might just wait till I'm done and come back and tell y'all how it is, or I might come back and let you know as I'm going along, just depending on how we do. So let me get on this bike, let me get some riding and reading done, and then I'll come back at some point and let y'all know what's going on. Y'all, hey, I just wanted to check in and let you know I've been reading Hoot. I'd finished on the bike, I just ate my breakfast, finna get in the shower and go on with my day. But I wanted to tell you, because I'm going to forget this, because I'm going to keep reading, I'm going to finish the book, then I'm going to have other things to tell you about it. So I read a bunch of Hoot while I was on the bike, and I really like it. I told you before, I love Carl Hyacin, even though I think I say his name wrong. But anyway, Hoot's really good. I really like the characters. Our main character is this kid named Roy, who's getting bullied in school. He's just moved to Florida. We're in Florida. He's just moved to Florida from like Montana or I don't know, somewhere out there. And he's getting bullied by this kid at school. And I suspect, so Carl Hyacin's book, his characters, like he has these off-color characters and they have these character arcs, but it's not like the off-color character like blooms into this, develops into this attractive, successful person. But like, I expect that this character arc is going to be like the bullied character, like he doesn't like start lifting weights and become popular and stop being bullied. But I suspect it's going to be some kind of like this bullied kid either becomes like the leader of the bullied kids or gets even with the other kid for bullying him. So that's my prediction. I'm enjoying the book. I love the characters. I love the way he's developing the characters. Again, it's YA. It's not even YA. It's probably middle grades. So there's not a whole lot of character development, but what's happening is funny. It's interesting. And if you've read Carl Hyacin, you know that he does these like offbeat characters. And this book has some offbeat characters, but not like the, drunk beach bum that we will tend to find in his books, but kind of like the middle school version of the drunk. It's really funny. Anyway, let me go. I got to get in the shower and get some things going, but I'm sure I'll finish this book either today or tomorrow. So I'll come back and let y'all know how it goes. Y'all check out these two. That's what I'm dealing with right now. Anyway, all right, let's turn this way so we can watch them while we talk. Y'all know how we do it. I just wanted to check in quickly and let y'all know that I have finished Hoot, and I loved it. It's definitely Carl Hyacin. It's very funny, very witty. Roy definitely goes on a character development arc, not necessarily exactly what I thought it was going to be, but so he and his family have moved all over the place because his daddy is in some kind of government job which he doesn't know what it is, which is funny because that's a typical kid, right? When you ask a kid what their dad does, he's like, oh, I don't know, he works for, Coca-Cola. Or, y'all hear that? I'll just move you a little closer. Or, he works for whatever company and they don't know what dad does. Well, Roy's dad works for the government in some kind of how, so he's a bit of a loner when he comes to Florida. The story develops around a restaurant that's being built in town. It's a chain pancake place and it's going to endanger an endangered animal. And that's all I'm going to tell you because I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I highly recommend Hoot. For grown folks, but definitely if you have kids that you're trying to get to read, and maybe, I don't know, I would say middle school boys, upper middle school boys, I think would love this book, especially if you're going to read with them, because it's witty and interesting enough that you wouldn't be bored to tears. While we're talking about books to read with your kids, I just did that video last week or week before about how to use a Kindle to get your kids to read. So I'm not going to go into all that, but I've read these 2 books recently. They're called The Terrible Two. It's like The Terrible Two and The Terrible Two Strike Back or something. Y'all, it's getting very noisy out here. I'm going to go inside in a second. But they are very funny, very witty, very middle school boyish. So if you're looking for books for middle school boys, Hoot, The Terrible Two, and then the second Terrible Two book, like The Terrible Two or At It Again, something, I don't know. But there are a bunch of Terrible Two books, so I assume it's the same thing just over and over again. I tapped out on book number 2, but the kiddo that I read with loves them, so we're going to read Hoot next. And then if he wants to go back to the Terrible Two, we're going back to the Terrible Two, because that keeps him reading. But y'all, I'm going to go inside because the thing is doing, and there's a car in the Culdy that's doing, so I'm going to go inside and start my next book. And I will check in and let y'all know what it is when honestly, when I figure out what it is. So I'll be back in a bit, if not tonight, then in the morning, and let you know what else we're reading. Y'all, hey, I just wanted to check in. I'm fixing to get on the bike, obviously, but I think I told y'all that I finished Hoot yesterday, and I wasn't sure what I was going to start reading, but I'm not sure. I don't know what I told you. So I loved Hoot. I think I told you that it was kids solving things, but it's different. Remember I just finished the Agathas, which was also kids solving things. But in the Agathas, it sort of plays along with the kids solving things of it all. Like the whole story acts like it makes sense that these teenagers are like figuring the whole thing out. Well, in Hoot, Carl Hyacin, in his sort of, I don't know, sardonic fashion, is that the right word? In his, sort of sarcastic, like, twisting of things, will present a kid solution to something, but then he'll present the sort of real-life reality of it. Like, at one point, the kids, and I don't want to tell you too much because it's all, like, every bit of it is interesting and funny plot twists, but they take two of the kids take a friend to the hospital, but they can't give his actual name. So they give the name of one of the kids. So imagine, like, a kid goes to the hospital and they give the name of the kid in the hospital's friends. Think about the things that would happen. Well, like in the Agathas, that would all work out. In Hoot, it happens the way it would happen in real life. Like the wrong people get called and sort of chaos ensues. So Hoot has that sort of real life bent to it, which just sort of adds to the chaos and makes it just more interesting and, to me, more entertaining and funnier. So all the thumbs up to Hoot. Finished that yesterday, I told y'all. And then I started reading Beach Read, which is Emily Henry. Y'all, I love Emily Henry, but I don't know why. And y'all calm down, I know. I've only read one of her books, so I don't know why. So I guess I shouldn't say I don't know why I love Emily Henry. I don't know why I think I love Emily Henry. I read Book Lovers, loved it, and so now I've started Beach Read, which starts off kind of the same way as Book Lovers. Starts off with the main character working through this like epic sadness. And I'm not going to keep comparing this to Book Lovers because one, I don't want to give spoilers for Book Lovers and it's too much to like sort what to say and what not to say. So loved Book Lovers, I'm going to leave that alone. But Beach Read starts off with January, who is our main character, at this lake house on Lake Michigan. And we find out pretty quickly that it was the lake house that January's dad shared with his mistress that January didn't know about till her dad died. Lord have mercy, talk about daddy issues. But that's about as far as I've gotten because I was tired. I didn't feel like reading. And then I got a little panicked thinking I was in a book slump because I had like 4 hours that I could read and I didn't feel like reading. So I got myself all worked up, then I got myself calmed down. And y'all, I ended up downloading the movie version of Hoot and started watching that, and then I fell asleep. So it turns out I was really just tired. Not in a book slump. I know. Imagine being inside this noggin. Anyway, started watching the movie version of Hoot, and it's really good. Now, obviously, it doesn't follow the book, but the things in the movie come from the book. So, of course, they sort of rearrange it and leave stuff out because you can't follow a book exactly when you make a movie. That's why they call it an adaptation. But yeah, so I started watching Hoot. I started reading Beach Read. I finished neither one. So I'm going to get on the bike and continue to read Beach Read, not watch Hoot. I'll watch Hoot at some point. It's in my Amazon. I can watch it whenever I want. So I'm going to get on the bike and read, and then I got to work today. Ugh, work, getting in the way of my reading. So I'm going to work and read, and I'll come back and let you know what I know when I know something, all right? So y'all have a great day, and I'll see you soon. I have a little while in between my classes, y'all, and instead of being inside doing things I should be doing, I'm sitting out here reading Beach Read. Did I say Beach Reads? I don't even know what I called this earlier when I said I was starting this book, but love it. Remember I said I wasn't sure why I said I'm a big fan of Emily Henry because I'd only read one book? Well, it's because I'm a big fan of Emily Henry. Y'all, I love this book. I love her. I love her writing. I love her characters. It is like rom-com to the max. And y'all know, I've said it before, I love me a good rom-com. I love me a mediocre rom-com. Emily Henry's rom-coms are written for me. So, I don't know what's wrong with me, y'all. I need the intern to come home. Anyway, so far, we've met our main characters. It's Gus and January. Y'all prepare to fall in love with Gus. Now, it's not like a Benji Ovich kind of love. Hashtag Beartown Forever. Hashtag My Heart Belongs to Benji. But, y'all, I know we gotta move on from that. So, be prepared to fall in love with Gus. Now, I think I told y'all that January finds out at her daddy's funeral that he was having, he had this long-term affair. And I don't want to tell you too much because I already have forgotten the order in which we learn things, so I don't know what comes early and what comes a little later. But let me just say this. Many of my favorite tropes are in this book. We have authors, we have heartbroken folks, and they're heartbroken in some traditional and untraditional ways. They are in a small town, a small lake town. Come on, a small vacation lake town during not vacation time and vacation time. So y'all, it's all the things. I am loving it. If I worked for somebody else, I would be at risk of losing my job because I'm spending too much time reading this book and not working, but it's not like I'm on fire myself. So let me read some more, but just suffice it to say, I'm enjoying this book very much. I'm going to finish. If I don't finish today, I'll finish in the morning because the intern's not here to distract me and run the TV and stuff. So I can spend an inordinate amount of time reading today, but I do have stuff have to actually be responsible tonight. So I will read. I will come back and let y'all know when we know what we know. But let me say this. There have been some interesting developments. And y'all go ahead and say it. Oh, big surprise. Danielle didn't see them coming. I didn't see them coming. January will be somewhere and then Gus will show up there. And I'm like, oh, that was Gus the whole time. Y'all know I never see those coming. And I love those. So maybe that's why I like these books so much, because I just kind of turn off that thinking part of my brain and just read and just let it happen. But I enjoy that. and I'm enjoying it in this book. So I'm going to go and let Gus and January happen to me. I'm pretty sure, like, something sad has to happen, right? Like, we have to have that Act 3 so then Act 4 can solve it. So, let me go. Let me read. I'll come back and let you know what I learn and what I think, but I'm going to love this book. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that right now. It's not exciting, but it's a rom-com. They don't have to be exciting. So, y'all quit distracting me. Let me go read, and I'll come back later and let you know what I think. Y'all, I got to tell you something. I got to read you this part in Beach Read. Now, don't judge me. I have not been sitting here this whole time. I went in the house. I taught a class. I ate a lunch. I did some laundry, and now I'm back out here reading. And I got to this part I have to read to you because this is why we love Emily Henry. So this character is explaining the matching tattoos that he and his wife have. He says, if you start at one point on a Mobius strip and you follow it straight around, when you've done the full loop, you don't end up back where you started. You end up right above it, but on the other side of the surface. And if you keep following it around for a second time, you'll finally end up where you started. So it's this path that's actually twice as long as it should be. At the time, I guess we thought it meant that the two of us added up to something bigger than we were on our own. Y'all, that's what I love about Emily Henry. You're reading along thinking you're just reading this little rom-com beach read book, and then she busts out something like that. Now, I mean, it's not like earth-shattering or like Shakespeare or anything, but it's insightful and it's sweet and I love it. And that's what I love about Emily Henry. So, y'all go on about what you're doing. I'm going to keep reading. I'm about halfway through. So I'll probably finish, I don't know, either tonight or in the morning. So I'll come back when I'm done and let y'all know, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you we love it. But I'll come back and like break it down and give you the final report when I'm done. Oh, y'all, I'm tired. You can see by the looks of me, I'm tired. I need to get me some water and get in the bed. I already put the dogs in the bed, but I wanted to check with you and let you know that I finished Beach Read. Y'all, it was so good. It was so cute. I do love Emily Henry. I think I've already told you everything I'm going to tell you about the book. I told you it's all my favorite tropes. I told you it's two authors. I don't think I told you that they're both in writing slumps. So they end up challenging each other to get through their writing slumps. And y'all, there's a cult. I don't know if y'all know this. I love me a good cult. That's okay. Now that's all I'm going to tell you about the book. Because now we're getting into spoilers and we don't do that. That's not how we act. So that's all, y'all. I'm so tired. And it's not even late, but it's late for me, and 4:30 is going to come very early in the morning. So I'm going to go to bed. But I wanted to tell y'all that I finished the book and that I did in fact love it. Just like I predicted, 2 days ago that I would love it? I did love it. So I do officially love Emily Henry now. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, we're definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos at the beginning of every week with some book videos sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.